In the grand arena of life, every man faces his own unique seasons, times of triumph, struggle, growth, and reflection. Your legacy is forged not just by the challenges you face, but by the quality of your thoughts and actions. Welcome to the Legacy Podcast with Ernest Wood, where we explore the path to true happiness, enduring legacy, and becoming the man you're meant to be.
Hey, welcome to the Legacy Podcast. Today, I have a fantastic guest. His name is Daniel Jackson. He communicates in it's a little bit different way. Not too many people have his skill set. And he has a book on Amazon. It's called The New Beginning. And he helps people find what their purpose is. And I'm going to let him explain how he does this because I don't want to ruin it. So Daniel, take it from here and tell us who you communicate with and how you come up with people's purpose.
Yes, I'll absolutely do that because I don't want you to ruin it either. My name is Daniel Jackson. I go by Spirit Medium Daniel. I am a spiritual medium. I don't call myself psychic because when you say psychic, then people start asking you, what am I thinking now? And my answer for that is, I don't know what you're thinking now, but everyone else thinks, well, they don't think too much of you. Anyway, so I see spirit all day. I don't ever not see spirit throughout my day. It never turns off for me. It never goes away. But I don't just see regular people. I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish, other beings from other worlds, see into other dimensions. I see a remote view. I see a lot of things. And a lot of things I see people just don't want to see, I'm telling you. But I communicate with what we refer to as archangels. They are not men with wings and shields and swords by any means. They are in a place there is no space and time, so there's no wind beneath their wings to have them fly because they don't fly. That's just a big, huge misconception. If they had wings, it's because of their pre-incarnation, but they're not all walking around with wings and a sword and a shield and all that stuff. There's no battle going on in heaven because, as we would believe, that all the negative energies would be in hell, even though there's no such place as hell. If they're all down there, then who would they be battling with? Nobody. So let that stuff go. But I communicate with them. I get answers. One of the things that I do for them is I cross spirit over, and spirit asks me questions. And when they ask me questions, I ask the archangels for the answers. They give it to me. I give it to the spirit, and then I help them cross over. And because I can get answers for spirit, I can get answers for anybody. And that's what I do.
How did you find out that you could do this? Like, was it just one day you woke up and you started seeing it, or was it like you were a little kid and you got it from a little kid, or like that's just yeah.
Fascinating, right? Yeah. I've seen spirit ever since I was 3 years old. My whole family were seeing them. We lived in a town in New Jersey, and in that town, right next to it, because we were right next to the Delaware River, was a battlefield where the Hessians fought, and there was a little hospital in there. So a lot of war going on, a lot of death was there. And so my whole family was seeing spirit, but a lot of people around that neighborhood were seeing spirit. It was just by the time I was 17, my parents and I moved from New Jersey to Delaware. No one else was really seeing them as much as I was. And then I just continued to see them throughout my entire life. It wasn't until right before turning 50 years old that I was had my awakening to this. This was brought to me in a way for me to make a decision of whether or not I was going to use this ability that I now have or not. And in that way, it was my wife went away on vacation for 2 weeks. And then for those 2 weeks, I saw everything you can ever imagine in a scary movie happening in my house. And they were showing this to me so that I would make that decision, decide to make that choice if I was going to move forward with what I had or not. Now, I didn't know I had anything. I just thought I saw spirit, but I eventually had a paranormal group come to my house, and they got so scared after being at my house that they quit. They actually stopped being in business because there was so much information they got. And then I moved on and found some mediums. I found 5 of them, and all of them none of them knew each other, but all of them told me the same story about me having this ability. and me one of them told me I had to make a choice to decide if I was going to move forward with this or not. And I made that choice, and I had a talk with God at that point, and said I would move forward with this, and I will do it anything or everything that He wants me to do and wants me to be, and where He wants me to be. And now here I am.
That's man, that's interesting. So what is it that you do with the, like they told you to do something with this power or this ability that you have? So what is it that you actually do? I looked on your stuff and you said that you help people who feel powerless in today's world
Yes.
and like discover how, maybe how to get their power back.
What I do is I help to give them peace of mind and clarity, but what I help to do mostly is give them direction in their lives. These are the people who feel a sense of loss in their lives. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what their purpose is, and I help them to reach that purpose. Although the purpose that I'm helping them to reach is the same purpose for every single person. We all have the same we all have the same purpose, but people here are taught things that are just not true, and they want to believe that their purpose is going to be some big grandiose story, when in fact it's not. The purpose is very simple. We're here to help each other just for the sake of helping, not because we can, but because we should. Anyway, you're going to help someone to do something physical that they can absolutely not do for themselves, or you're helping them to figure it out. But it's very simple little things that will come across to you. Like I was at a bank one time a couple of months ago, and I was go walking out of the door, and a man, I saw him coming across the parking lot, but he had a walker with him, and and as he was walking, I yelled out. I said, "Hey, are you coming in here, sir?" And he said, "Yeah, I am, but it's going to take me a little bit." And I said, "Okay, I'll wait." And then he came across the parking lot, and he come up, and I said, "Here you go." And he's like, "Oh, thank you very much." I said, "Oh, no problem." I said, "You want? Let me get that other door for you." And as I said that, the people inside the bank opened it up for him. And then I said, "Look at that! They opened it for you. Great. Do you want me to wait for you until you come out?" And he said, "Oh, no, you don't have to do that." I said, "Oh, it's not a problem. I can just wait for you. I don't want you to struggle, because I know how heavy this door is, because that door is heavy. He would have had to struggle to hold it open while trying to get his walker through there and get through that. I didn't want that for him. So I didn't want him to struggle with that. So I said, "I'll hold it open." He said, "No, that's okay. You can go, but thank you." That's fulfilling your purpose. It's not going to be, "Oh, look how wonderful I am. And look how, hey, everybody, take a picture of me doing all these wonderful things." No, that's your ego. Let that bullshit go, because it's not real. Okay. So, yeah, that's all everybody, what's in it for me type of thing. No, I didn't do what I did for this man for what's in it for me. I did it for what's in it for him, which is trying to help him to get through his day a little bit easier without having to put up with all the crap. I mean, you would think people would know, all these people who do have disabilities would have a hard time getting through that door. There wasn't even a button out there that you could push to open that door. So maybe something like what I did will inspire someone else to make a little bit of change in this world. And that's what I do. I'm trying to make change in this world, but I'm trying to make a change in the little ways like that by fulfilling my purpose, but also getting people on board to know that their purpose isn't just this big, wonderful thing. And look how, let me take 1,000 selfies on Facebook, because if you're doing that, you have a self-esteem problem. Go get that fixed. So what you need to do is concentrate on the little things where you can really help people. That's what your purpose is, and that's what I do for people.
Huh. That's fun. It's interesting because, like, I have a little saying that everybody has a different definition of their legacy, their happiness, right?
Sure.
And it all comes,
Perception.
yeah, it's their perception, but it does all come back to, finding what's truly happy in there and for them,
Yeah.
right? But what makes most people happy, most people, right, is being able to do that act of kindness, whatever it is. It could be minute to just, like opening the door for somebody. It could
Correct.
just be smiling at somebody.
Correct.
And if everybody had that purpose, right, of just doing the act of kindness every day, how freaking great would our world be instead of the shit show that it is right now?
Yes, they all have the ability to do that, but they have to make their choice if they want to do that. You can walk through a doorway and someone be looking at you and you see them bobbing left and right. Why are they doing that? Because they're spending a whole bunch of energy trying to avoid making contact with you. I step right in front of them and tell them hello. Because why not? Because when I do that, they go, "Oh, hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you doing?" And then you may have just changed their whole outlook on their day with one word. Why wouldn't you do that? There's nothing wrong with it.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Um, it's it, but it gets, I think, especially like because I like to speak for men or to men with men about men, and we all kind of get stuck in our own way, right? Because
Yes.
we go through different seasons in life, you know, and some of those seasons are kind of intertwined where we're going through summer in one aspect of our life and we might be going through winter in another aspect of our life, right?
Yes.
And sometimes, man, you're trying so hard to get what the world's, idea of success is. You start chasing that, you forget about what actual true success is, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I don't listen what the world has to say with their idea of success because I don't think it's not success. Their success is them convincing you how much money you have in the bank, and that's what's going to give you success. That's not success. That's greed. That's ego.
and it's funny because I always use the word funny. I'm not sure why I use it, but like you have to have in today's world, you have to have some kind of money, right? And if you have more
Sure.
money and you're a good person, you're going to be able to do better stuff, right? So like
If you make that choice to do better stuff,
if you make
yeah,
that choice,
not
right? Because
everybody they finally get all that money and go, well, shit, I'm going to keep all this money for myself. I was going to help a bunch of people, but I'd rather help myself. No, that's not the answer.
yeah, I think there's like two ways of going. So like some people always chase the money or chase the material thing because that's what they think happiness is going to they're going to find happiness at that, right?
Correct. Yes.
And then other people who get to that spot who who are there all of a sudden change what their definition of happiness is. Like they all of a sudden come into this money, and instead of being that nice or kind person that they thought they were, they turn into arrogant butthead.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because I always think that good money makes a good person even better and a bad person even worse kind of deal, right? And that might not be the perfect way of saying it, but what do you feel about like that?
I ride motorcycles. I enjoy riding motorcycles. Now, to me, motorcycles are just motorcycles. I own a Harley Davidson. I've had Kawasaki, Suzuki, Honda. I've had all different kinds. It's not a name that I think is going to bring me worth or anything like that. I just enjoy them. But what if I wasn't into them? I'm into them now. I like what the feeling that it gives me, and I enjoy riding motorcycles. But what if I wasn't into motorcycles? I could be into something else. But all those little things, all those things, all that stuff isn't going to bring me inner peace. It's just going to bring me outer peace. Like I can go out and enjoy this, but eventually I have to stop riding it, and then I have to get right back to regular life. So instead of looking for that inner peace on from outside things, it's easier to look on the inside first. And if you're not feeling it on the inside first, then those outside items aren't going to change that. What you have to do is do the inner work, the inner, unfortunately, dirty work to clear out everything that is within you that you are trying to mask with these other things on the outside. Those things are never going to completely change your life and change your outlook. You have to change your outlook and your look on your perception of life by going in within you and finding out that okay, I don't get along with my parents. I don't get along with my family. How can I change that? How can I make that better? How can I make the situation better for me? Do I have to exit myself from these people? Well, maybe I do because all they do is try to bring me down all the time. And then once I do exit them from my life, I have to be okay with it. And I have to know that I can't let them come back in because all they've ever done. Now, maybe I will give them one more chance, but if they do come back in, I can't start blaming them for all the problems they caused again. I would have to blame myself for that, for allowing them to come into my life. There are hard choices you're going to have to make for your life, but the true answers that you're going to find for those choices are going to come from within, coming from within you to find out what is good for me and what is not good for me. And once you learn to clear out everything that is not good for you, then your whole life will change in for the better. And then you'll realize maybe I don't need all these outside things anymore. Maybe I can just find peace within and be okay. Now, I have found that peace within me. I have separated myself from all the negative people, all the negative energy in this world. And now it just makes those other things that that I've always enjoyed before even much better. But that again, those things are not going to bring me the inner peace that I was looking for. I had to go find that myself, and that journey begins with finding it within me.
It's so true because when you're around, like you can have some great groups of friends, but once you start changing or you're trying to find that inner peace and that inner happiness and your goals no longer align with, the old crowd, it's sometimes it's kind of it feels sad at the time, right? You don't get to spend as much time with this group of people that you absolutely adore,
Right.
but they're not in alignment where you're headed. So it's like it's sometimes it's better that you just have to almost cut them from the life or minimize your time with them because
Yes.
it's like you do find this lonely spot though in life, right? When you're changing or you're adjusting. I think we talked about it. Like I was changing from my being an asshole to what my definition of awesome is. And man, it found like there was like a little certain spot there. There wasn't a whole lot of people that I was talking to at the time. And it was like, damn,
Right.
man.
Well, you get to that point of now that that is all cleared away from you. Now you're thinking to yourself, "What do I do now? What did you do before? You went out and made these relationships. You can go out and make some more. You just have to want to have the willingness and wantingness to do it. So it's going to take a little bit more maybe now because we're a little bit older. It's not as easy to make friends, but that's okay. Now that you know what you don't want in life, you won't just go out and look for anybody. You'll look for the right people.
And it's all about, I again, changing your perspective, right? If you have if you're happier with yourself, you're going to actually draw in people that are happier with their self.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And one of my perspectives is as you were talking about setting goals and things like that. I myself, but this is just for me. I'm not saying anybody else has to do this, but I myself, I don't set goals. I don't have expectations of anything. I wake up every day with an open mind, an open heart, and I go into my day that way because the world wants you to set certain goals and they want you to have expectations of everything. And why do they want you to do that? Because they are setting you up so that you will be disappointed. I don't go by that. I don't go by anything of what society tells me how I should live my life and go throughout my day. I do it on my terms, and my terms say, you know what? I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to be let down by everything that I thought I was going to do. How about if I just take it on as it comes, and if I get through it in a positive way, great. That way, I don't have to deal with any of the negativity because I know I didn't allow it to come into my life. Oh, I hope this happens. I hope this works. It's either going to work or it isn't. And if it's not going to work that day, maybe it will the next day. Who knows? We'll just wait and see what happens.
So I'm gonna like kind of push back with you a little bit on the goal thing.
Of
So
course you will.
no, no, yeah. I mean that's what's going to make a good conversation, right? And I agree with part of what you're saying because a lot of people just don't know how to set goals, right? They'll set these grand goals and then they don't walk it back and take those micro wins along the way. They just think, man, I don't have the instant gratification of, you know, whatever the goal is. Like I
Right.
should be able to achieve it right now. But if your goal is big enough, it's going to stretch you. It's going to take time. You got to be consistent. You have to be able to work at it. But you also have to take those little micro wins. So, like you said, you don't feel that disappointment because if you don't like set up for me, and I'm just gonna, go with what you're saying. I set up every single day where I try to get little micro wins throughout the day. And so even if it's not the best day ever, because what is it, 60, 70% of the time, we probably don't feel at our best, right? We're not going to feel that 100% optimal self. But if we can be consistent in our life and always moving forward, wouldn't it be better to have something that you're kind of aiming for? I mean, I understand what you're saying, like live every day as the day, but if you didn't know where you were going, wouldn't you kind of just get lost, not and accomplish nothing? I'm just trying to understand how how you set it up.
As long as I'm helping people, that's enough for me.
That's your thing. As long
Yes.
as you're
Yeah, as I have cleared out all the negative people and negative energy in my life, the people who really want my help find me every day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like your legacy, right? That's you found your happiness. That's what you're leaving with this world is that as long as you can help somebody every day, then you're happy with yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not looking for fame and fortune. I'm if I do become at some point famous, as long as I'm famous for helping people, as long as I'm famous for making a difference and doing something that matters in this world, that is enough for me. I have a book that I sell. My book sells for $8. I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'd love to help 1 million people, but I'm not setting a goal for myself that it's got to be a monetary thing. I'm setting I'm wanting to put out there that hey, this is how it works for me. Maybe this can do something for you because the point of everything about my story, although it was very difficult for me to get where I am now, uh, very difficult. I describe it in there to the T. Uh, but the point of my book is if you're going through life, even with what I have or not what I have, if you're going through life and you're having some difficulty in your life and you just can't figure it out, go out and find your people. There are 7.5 billion people on this world. There is someone that is going through what you are going through because a lot of people have that mental thought in their mind that when they break their leg, oh, I'm the only one that's got a broken leg. No one's ever had a broken leg. No one's ever had this. No one's ever. Well, 7.5 billion. It's probably pretty close to that. There's a lot more people that's had the same thing. Go out and find those people. Go out and find your tribe of people that are going to help you because they're either going through it at the same time right now or they have been through it. They can give you some type of advice, something to help you along the way. As that's what I'm doing. I mean, my book is again, it's my story, but there's also channeled messages in there that archangels gave me to help people to become better versions of themselves, and hopefully help other people to do the same thing, which in turn is helping them at the same time. Again, fulfilling that purpose. But yeah, that's what my whole thing is about the book. But that's what my whole thing is about with me. I've done in the past 3.5 years. At this point now, I've done around 275 other podcasts, not including my own. And I get comments all the time. I get people who email me all the time. Some of them just want to email me. Some of them they book readings with me. But I get a lot of emails from people that say the same thing. Everything you said resonates with me, Daniel. Everything that you're saying out there, I feel that you are telling the truth, and I'm glad that you were on that show. And thank you, and all. And if that doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what does, but I'm not doing it just for that. I'm just doing it because I hope they do get the message. I hope they do understand what I'm trying to do here, which is turn this place around to being a better place. But again, it all comes down to choice. It all comes down to their choice of deciding for themselves if they're going to take what I'm putting out there and implement it into their lives. They have to decide that for themselves. But as they're listening to it, if it's going to make them think about it, then my job is complete.
Man, see, that's awesome, dude. That you found it. You talked about struggles, and I think everybody. I mean, I used to be the guy who hated struggle. Like anytime an obstacle came up, most of us are like that nowadays, right? Like nobody wants to be uncomfortable, and nobody wants to have that obstacle or that struggle. But once you learn that, like, life is just most of the time not going to be super easy, and you're going to have obstacles if you're trying to grow or if you're trying to do anything worth doing.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you got to you almost have to be grateful that they come up, because that gives you the learning experience, right? That gives
Yes.
you that allows you to grow and be a better person or whatever you're trying to be.
Yeah, yeah, and with those things that you're struggling with, it's a matter of your if it's something that you wanted to do initially, then you're going to do it as much as you can. You're going to do whatever it takes to get there. But it is hard sometimes. Life is not meant to be easy. If it was meant to be easy, what would be the point of living? If you were given everything in your lifetime, you wouldn't appreciate the things that you do have. Me becoming a medium, uh, again, so I communicate with archangels. It wasn't one day that they just said, okay, we're going to start talking to you and that's going to be it. It's not like that at all. Even when I speak to other mediums who say, oh, I'm communicating with angels, I feel them all the time. I always ask them right off the bat, oh, what does it feel like to be touched by an archangel? Oh, well, Daniel, it feels like a feather's touching me. No, I know that's not the truth. Uh, when they started working with me, my soul had to be worked on so that I would be able to see them, hear them, feel them, communicate with them better. So I could get the messages the way that I do and so quickly. When I ask a question, I get told like that. I get the answer that quick. Why do I get the answer that quick? Because again, I had to go through the process of them working on my soul. Now, when they were working on my soul, this would happen at nighttime. In the very beginning of me becoming this medium, they would touch me on my body, all over my body. I would feel these little cold touches. And I'd be like, "Ooh, what's that?" Okay. And then I hear in my mind, "We're working on your soul, so you can communicate with us better." Oh, okay. And and then they're doing that. The very next day, after I'd wake up from that, I would be throwing up and crapping everywhere for hours, okay? And then I would recover from that and I'd be okay for about 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, they would do the touches again. And then the next day, I'd be throwing up and crapping everywhere. Now, that happened again, it would happen twice a month to the point where after a couple months, I was like, oh, is this what this is? And then I get touched. Yes, that's what this is. Oh, okay. At any point, I could have said, this is too much for me. I can't handle this. And then it would have ended. And then I would just go back to being a regular person. But I knew from having that conversation with God that He wanted me to do this, because if He wanted me to do this, that's again, He brought all this to me because He wanted me to do this. If He didn't want me to do this, He wouldn't have brought it to me. So I know it had to mean something more than just about me. I know it was for a different reason, for a bigger reason, a bigger purpose in this world. I knew that. And I had to be okay with what they were doing. So I never said, "Oh, please stop this." I just went on with it. And that touching and all the issues of after the touching went on for 3 years.
Was that like a detox almost? Like maybe
Correct.
detoxifying your soul or whatever? Is that
Correct.
kind of
And because it was more of a yeah, like a detox, like a purge of everything. But because the soul is connected to the body and their energy is so strong, I mean, when regular spirit talk to us, they have to lower their vibration in order to do that. But archangel vibration is, you know, You have God, Archangel, what archangels call lesser angels because they just have less responsibility, but we just call them angels. Then you have spirit guide, then you have spirit, and then you have us, and then you have spirit who in this low energy place. So when a regular spirit's talking to you, they're just above we are where we are. Archangels up here. That vibration, that power, that intensity is up here. Even if they lower just a little bit, it's still going to affect you in this way where it's going to be very strong, an unimaginable strong that regular people don't feel. Okay, because they're not meant to. I was meant for this, so they had to bring it to me. And when they brought it to me, this is what it caused. So when everyone says to me, "Oh, well, yeah, I felt an archangel. It felt like a feather." Well, no, it's not going to feel like a feather because they don't have wings anyway. But no, this is what happens to you. And when I explain that to people, they go, "Oh, I wouldn't want to do that." Correct. So with anything in this world, if you're going to want to do it, yeah, you're probably going to have to go through some shit to get there. But that's what makes you feel better about once you get there. That's why I feel confident in my abilities. You know, people will question my abilities all the time. I'll say, well, no, don't mistake my confidence as arrogance. I just know I'm correct and you're not. It's just the way that it is. Once I say that, that's me telling them, no matter what you say at this point, isn't going to make a difference because I'm not going to change because I know what I'm getting is the truth. You just don't understand the truth because you don't like the truth. Not my problem, yours. But yeah, that's just the way it is. I know what I went through, and when I explain to other mediums, this is what I went through. They go, "Oh, I didn't go through that." Right, because you're not talking to archangels. So stop telling people that you are and let it go, and move on. But yeah, struggle is part of life. We are going to struggle throughout this life. There's never not going to be a moment in your life that you're not struggling with something physically or mentally in your life. But it's up to you to decide if you're going to go through it. It's up to you to decide if it is worth going through it. It was worth going through it for me. Now, these struggles that I went through to get where I am now, I have a lot of mediums who come to me who also have an ability to use archangels. They will not have as many as I do because nobody does, but that's just the way it is. But they will have the ability to do that. But I now am for God and archangels. I am a recruiter in that sense where when they come to me, I tell them, this is what I went through. This is what you're going to go through. This is what you're going to have to do in your make these changes in your life. I go through everything with them because I had to go through it so they would know. So they would know ahead of time, so they could make the choice ahead of time instead of having to go through it if they don't really want to go through it. But if they want to go through it, here's what's going to happen. Here's my way of helping you to do that. So, and that's what we do in our lives. Some of us have have a different type of job and you struggle through things and stuff like that. And then you have new employees come in. Well, this is what you're going to go through. And this is how it's going to be. It'll be great for you, but you're going to have to go through some shit to get there. And people have to make that choice. We all have to make that choice. And it is up to us to choose whether or not we want to do that. And if you don't want to do it, don't. Just do something else. But if you want to do it, know that here's what's going to happen. It's up to you.
I like to say you have to know your why, like why you're doing something, because if your why is big enough, you can get through just about anything, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I didn't know why I did half the crap that I did, man. I had no why really. It was just I was trying to get to what I thought was going to make me happy, and then I found like my why. Like I would love to just help people find their definition of happiness. That's my
Yeah.
why now. Find your definition of happiness, be able to look in the mirror and go, I like that guy. Because I know how bad it sucked not being able to look in the mirror and go, hey, that's a good dude right there. I was always like, he's kind of a shithead, you know? Um, what did you do prior to what you're doing now? Like, you had sometime in life you were making, probably had a job, right? Or making money in the rural or in the what this world is
Yeah. Yeah.
before you you altered?
Um, let's see. My first job when I was a kid, I was a dishwasher at a hotel. Then I became a busboy. Um, I worked at other jobs that just never felt right to me. I eventually started working in warehouses. I was driving forklifts. I drove forklifts for years, up until a point when I was about 42. I was working at a place that I was doing someone else's job that day because I had to leave early, and another guy was using the forklift, and he picked up 2 pallets of frozen chicken. Those pallets collapsed and fell on top of me.
Oh,
And I
man.
went to work on my motorcycle and I left in an ambulance. I ended up having 2 back operations, a hernia operation, and then I had to find a different form of what I did. So I was no longer doing the physical labor. I went into just working behind a desk, and I was doing medical records. I went to school for that and got a certificate in that. And then I worked in prison for the last 6 years of my working. I worked in prison for 6 years. Um, and when you work in prison, you got to be a different kind of person. You have to look at things differently. You have to have a sense of humor because if you don't, it'll drive you crazy. And so that's what I did. And it was when I was in prison doing that job when this all came about. But it wasn't because of that job. It's because it was time for me to wake up. So, yeah, I've had many different jobs. I was in I was in a motorcycle club, one of those MC motorcycle clubs that has all the rules, girls can't join, all that stuff. So that was different for me. Again, so it's not like I wasn't doing anything else prior, what I talk about now to not do. I drank alcohol for a while. Not that I was a big drinker. I wasn't. I wasn't getting drunk every weekend because it just wasn't. I enjoy having a driver's license. But I had quit drinking when I was 40. I'm diabetic because I knew that it was going to affect me. It was affecting me, so I quit doing that. Haven't had a drink in 18 years. I don't walk around calling myself sober. I don't do that. I just don't drink. It's not anybody else's business what I call myself. Okay, but with that, but yeah, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't have any tattoos. If you want to have a tattoo, that's up to you. And I don't do any CBD, anything like that. But I don't do any of that stuff, and I've stayed with that because that's what Spirit tells me to do. Because they tell me, in order to get clear messages, I must be clear. I must be have all the blocks taken away from me, and those things are blocks so that I can receive clear messages. And I tell that to people as well. They can get clear messages too. They can find their inner peace, but they can also connect with their soul and get messages, and mainly get it through meditation. But you have to be clear. You have to have a clear mind. You have to have a clear mindset in order to get into meditation. It's not easy. I mean, I people would say, "How about you do some guided meditation?" Well, at the point when I was starting it, I was 50, but now I'm 58. Even at 58, I can't picture myself going up a flight of steps or climbing a tree because I don't want to do it in regular life. Why would I want to do it in meditation? That sounds like a struggle to me. So I found something called binaural beats, and I would use that. If it's music, it's just tones. There's no voice or anything like that going on,
Yeah.
and that would bring me in, and it got me in very quickly. I don't meditate anymore now because my connection with them is so clear all the time. If they need to tell me something, they just do. And when I say they need to tell me something, I'm not just saying, oh, they're going to tell me something now and they're going to tell me something 12 hours later. They talk to me all day long. I hear them all day long. They touch my face for yes and no answers. It feels like blood dripping across my forehead for a yes, and when I get a no answer, it feels like blood dripping down my eye, like a tear in my eye. So, and I in the beginning, I was getting touched by archangels in 2 spots, one here above this eyebrow and this eyebrow. Now it's 76 different places, and I know all the names who are doing it, and sometimes it's multiple of them touching me, and I know exactly who's doing it, and then they tell me things. So, but again, in order for me to get that, it's because of I was chosen for this. I mean, as I tell everybody, not everybody has this because what I have, no one, they're not all meant for that. Okay. You have it because you do. You can't just go to school and go to an intuition class and go, oh, now I'm going to be a psychic medium. It doesn't work that way. You either have it or you don't. Now, we all have somewhat an ability to get answers, but in order to get clear answers, you're going to have to clear out your life. And if you're just doing it with your ego, I'm telling you, I've talked to other mediums and they can say this all they want. Ego has absolutely no place in spirituality. It doesn't. You know, because in spirituality, you don't need a mindset of survival. When you've cleared yourself out, there's nothing to survive from. It's clarity. Clarity doesn't involve survival. Okay. So, I mean, spirit, when you go up into heaven and you're there and you're all the same, why would you need ego? Why would you need to survive anything? They don't have it. Why do we have it? Because everyone else in the world teaches you to have it. That's why. You know what you do? You stop listening. They tell you one day to eat bacon. They tell you the next day, don't eat bacon. They tell you this day to wear this shoe and this shirt. You know what they need to do? They need to shut the hell up. You know what we need to do? We need to stop listening. That's what we need to do. It's about clarity. You could get clear answers, but you're going to have to clear yourself in order to get those clear answers. And spirit know everything, and they know if you're going to do it just with your ego, they're not going to give you those answers. That's why you're having such a freaking hard time. Let all that
And
shit go.
it's so true. And that was dude, I know about being blocked up and learning meditation was one of the big things that helps release some of those little, I call them knots, right? Like you have little knots in your body. And
Yeah.
those are the triggers. Like those are the triggers that cause a lot of people some crazy shit in their life. Like I had all kinds of triggers. I had, if somebody was late, I was an ass, man. And it was all a trigger from like past crap. So it was a knot, right?
You know how you solve
I,
that trigger thing?
yeah, I
Put
have
down the
almost,
put down the
most of my
gun.
triggers are gone.
Yeah.
I learned how to like kind of breathe through them. I actually had to, I never took a drug in my entire life, never tried anything. And I did a deep dive on some mushrooms and figured out kind of the micro dosing and macro dosing. And that was the first time I actually was able to actually start unknotting them. And then once I learned that, then I was able to kind of unknot by myself just by doing some meditation and breathing. So I
Sure.
do a lot of breathing work every day. But it's so funny that you say, like being clean and being set up. It's kind of when you look at what's going around in our world today, I think we chatted about it before. It's more than half, almost three-quarters of the United States is obese or overweight or obese, right? People don't know how to sleep anymore. People they're not even hydrated. Most people don't even know how to breathe correctly.
Right.
And it all comes from like just like you said, somebody telling them, got to do it this way, got to do it that way. And most of the people that are telling you to do it, their head is so far up their ass, they can't even see, like it's just crazy.
Yeah, they're telling you that because they want to sell you this idea because it's going to make them money, right? I mean, it's pretty much that. I mean, there's no miracle diet in this world. There's only one diet that works. Put down the shovel and pick up a fork. Eat less and move more. That's the diet that works. You know,
Oh,
you could
that
they can have
stupid little
they have all the oh, you have this machine, and then next week they have this machine, and then next week they have this machine again. It's just pushing you that they need you to buy these machines. But if you're not motivated enough to actually put down the shovel and pick up a fork, you're not going to be motivated to get on that machine every day, and you're going to do what everyone else does is hang their clothes off of it.
I always say there's five fundamentals to being physically healthy when like physiology drives your psychology too, right? Is you have to sleep. I mean, most people have to sleep 7 to 8 hours. There's only like one out of every 11,000 that can, operate optimally on less. And then, so you got to sleep. You have to hydrate. You have to eat properly. You have to get some movement, and you have to learn how to breathe right.
Correct.
And like when you have those things dialed in and you're starting and like you said, those are almost like your clean out things, right? Those are like the fundamentals. If those aren't clean, it doesn't matter what the hell else you're doing in the world because it's not going to work. It's not you're not going to operate right. It's
They're not taking the time to do it. Like you said, they have to learn how to breathe. If they're doing one of these things where they have to go, okay, hold on. Okay. Why can't you just do that all day? Why aren't you doing that all day? Why aren't you taking clean, clear breaths all day long? Because you're running yourself out of breath all the time. And who wants to be running all day long? When you're running all day long, everything you think you're getting done, you're not getting done because you're having to run to the next thing. Slow down. That's what we need to do. Take a breath and slow down and go, you know what? I'm putting too many things on my plate. I got 10 things on my plate, and at the end of the day, I don't even get any of them done. Put one thing on your plate. Get it done. Take care of one thing at a time. Slow down enough to think clearly enough to get through that one thing and then move on to the next thing. But the only reason you have all this busyness in your life is because you're allowing it to happen. Stop allowing it.
Boundaries, right?
Yeah,
And that's
boundaries.
something else that so many people just struggle with. They just can't have those boundaries because if they tell somebody no, they might feel bad about it, and or or they might miss out on something that was so much fun. But
Yeah.
we keep everybody just says yes too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, they say yes to the wants in their life instead of all the needs they need in their life. You need food, you need water, you need shelter, you need warmth in the wintertime and shade in the summertime. You need those things, but all these other excess things. You go, well, if I want that, I got to work hard for it. But I want this one too, and I want this one too, and I want this one too, and I want this one too. And then you're running, 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 and you're
Yeah, I'm
not.
glad you cleared that up because
Yeah.
like most of the time people regret stuff that they don't do right in life, and we rarely regret the stuff that we do. And but the do
Yes.
has to have a purpose. Like you can't just be chasing somebody else's idea of the do, right? You can't just
Right.
say yes because that's what they want. But when
Right.
you say yes to what you actually want or need, like a need, then that's where stuff starts flowing a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And with like motorcycles, like I say, I ride a Harley Davidson. I have a black one. Why do I have a black one? Because if I break something on it, I can get a black part pretty easy. But a lot of people like these pretty colors and stuff like that. They have these new ones that just came out. And if you want the one with the beautiful fandangle pretty color, you're going to pay a lot more for it. Some of these new paint jobs are like you're paying an extra $6,000 to $8,000 for paint. The stuff that you put on your windows, in your house or your walls, paint. Yeah, you're going to pay $6,000 to $8,000 just so I can look more important than everybody else and look how wonderful I am because I paid for this and I'm such a better person and I'm such higher up in the status than you are because I paid for this. No, you just did what you wanted to do for you. And that doesn't mean that I need to do it either. I'm going to be happy with what my choice is too, of just by having a plain black bike. It's not plain to me. I enjoy what it is, but I enjoy riding the motorcycle. I don't have to go out there and show everybody, look how wonderful I am because I have this and I have that. I'm not about that. No one has to be about that. If you want to be about that, that's up to you. But again, if you're doing that all day long and you're taking all the selfies and all, you have a self-esteem issue. Go get that fixed. You don't need all that stuff. This is what everyone wants to tell you you need, and they are convincing you that you need it. I see thousands of motorcycles pass me all the time. Do I go, oh, I wish I had that color? No, I don't. If I wanted it, I would have got it. But if I understand that I don't really need it, then I don't need it. I let it go and walk away. It's that simple. You can learn to let things go and walk away. You don't have to feel the pressure that everyone wants you to feel. You don't have to listen to them. You can learn to turn around and walk away and just find your inner peace on your own without everyone else telling you that you have to have it or here I can sell you this idea of it. No, just let it go.
I like to say you can choose to respond instead of react. And most of our world, everybody likes to react to everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you respond, you actually take that breath and you put a little thought into it. And a good portion of the time, it doesn't even, you don't need a response. There's
No,
nothing there.
no.
You could just, like you said, walk away, man.
Yeah,
Just,
I choose not to get angry over other people's anger. They can yell and scream at me all they want, and when they get done, I look at them and go, "Are you done?" Oh well, you don't have anything to say? No, not really. Have a great day.
I
I don't have
started,
to get angry.
I started using. Did that make you feel better? Do you feel good now? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it actually, if you do it in the proper way, you can diffuse the situation where they go,
yeah,
oh, you know what? Actually, I do.
absolutely.
Or you
Yeah,
could be the smart ass, and then we could keep it going. But
yeah. I
yeah,
don't want
it's
to keep it
so,
going. I want to
yeah,
have
no.
a relaxed day. You don't want to keep it going like that with somebody because somebody
Oh,
like that doesn't have your best interest. They have their own interest, not yours.
I wanted to ask you like, but I know before you even came on, right? You asked if you should be on this show and you got an answer to be on the show. So I was thinking like, I need to ask him, hey, is this like a show that I should be doing? Is it the right thing? But I think I have the answer because you were already on. You wouldn't have been
Correct.
on if,
Correct. This is what you wanted to do. This is another outlet for you to go out there and help people in the way that you help people. You help them in a different way than I do, but you're still helping people, but you found another way to do it. Because I don't know if anybody will know on this show that the reason I'm probably on your show is because you were on my show, and you started seeing by being a guest on other people's show, hey, maybe I can do this too. And you're giving it a shot. Why wouldn't you? If it's working for other people, I'm going to see if it's going to work for me. But that's your choice to find out if it's going to work for you. If it is going to work for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, not a big deal. You can move on and figure out something else that's going to work for you because there is no right and wrong. There is no epic failures. There are no mistakes in this world. There is only what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, quit doing it, but try to do something else if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. That's up to you. But don't think that everything you're going to do, if it's not working for you, oh, I can't do this. I'm a failure at this. No, that again is society telling you that you're going to fail at everything. Once you stop listening to society telling you how you should live your life and what your life should be, you're not going to worry about these things anymore. You're going to figure it out that, hey, you know what? I'm going to give this a try. And if it works, oh, what? This is working. This is great. It's working great for me. Great. But if it's not working for you, then go, okay, that was just not meant for me to do. I think I'll try something else. If that old saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Well, no. If you're going to try 50 times at the same thing, expecting a different outcome, that's not going to happen. If it's not working for you, let it go and move on to something else. Don't think that your life is a complete failure because it's not. You were just doing something that wasn't working for you. So go do something that does.
so that's very interesting you say that because, like the whole Thomas Edison thing, right? He tried, I don't even know, 5,000 times to do a light bulb. And, like he says that 40, what he learned was 4,900 ways of not, that didn't work, right? And then the one way finally
Right.
worked. When do you say is that time to go, you know what, this is not the right thing? Like, because if he would have done it, say at 2,500, granted somebody else would have came up with a light bulb, but he wouldn't have been the guy who did the light bulb. And so like because there's always going to be obstacles and there's always going to be those rough spots. So how do you determine if, and then because you're going to be able to do it in a different way than I'd be able to do it, right?
Sure.
What is, how would you suggest that we determine, hey, maybe it's the time to move on, or nope, I just got to put my head down and freaking keep pushing? Is it you have to have the big enough why, or is it like, you know what, there just becomes a spot where it's just, it doesn't make any sense anymore?
It's a matter of you don't have to have anything. You don't have to have a big enough why. It's if you want to keep pursuing it. If you want to keep pursuing it, you will. But if you feel inside your heart, you feel inside your soul, and your soul is telling you this is not the right thing for me, then stop. It's that simple. In the same way, like if you were about to walk into a building, people get messages from God all the time. They're getting messages from their soul all the time. They're about to walk into a building and they say to themselves, I don't feel right about this. If you don't feel right about it, it's because your soul is telling you this is not the right thing to do. Listen to that first. Don't listen to everyone else telling you, oh, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep pushing. Thomas Edison decided to keep pushing because he just felt this is what he needed to do. He figured it out. I know there are other people who have done the same thing. Like even like Tesla, he invented this free energy. He's not the only one who did. There are others who did too, but it just didn't get put out because the big corporations didn't want that free energy to get out,
we,
so they could
we
sell
we
their
can have a
energy. You
whole
know?
different conversation on that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, you have to decide what's best for you. What's best for you isn't what's best for me, and what's best for me isn't what's best for you. It's up to you and your choice and your inner thought, your inner feeling about yourself of how much you want to go. And if you want to go, then go. I'm not here to tell you to not do that. I'm here to tell you to listen to what your soul says and do what's best for you without having everyone else tell you what's best for you because they don't truly know you. Only you know you, and only your soul knows you more than anything because your soul's been here so many times in just a different version of you. Learn to listen to that. Learn to listen, trust, and follow through with what it's telling you to do. Learn to do that first before going to an outside source. If you get to a point where you can't figure it out, like I said, with the point of my book, if you can't figure it out, then go out and find your people, go out and find someone else who can help you. And maybe you can work together. It doesn't need to necessarily be just their opinion and you go off on that. They can tell you their opinion and you go, oh, well, that makes sense. Maybe I'll do that and then try that. But again, if it works, great. If it doesn't, then do what you feel is necessary to do for you. But do that first. Go to the inner self first. Ask yourself. I always tell people, put their hands on their stomach. And when you're about to walk into a building, ask yourself, is this good for me to do? Just ask the one question. Don't ask, is this good for me or is this not good for me? Because you're not going to get a clear answer by asking two questions at once. Ask, is this good for me to do? And if you just go, I'm not feeling it, and that is your soul telling you, then don't do it.
See,
Ask
and
that first.
yeah, you could do that with everything, right?
Everything, correct.
And but again, we're gonna go back to those little knots, man, because if you're all knotted up and if your system's not running clearly,
Right.
you're not gonna be able to feel those answers because all you're feeling is a bloated ass stomach because you got to fart so bad because you
Yeah.
ate some
Yeah.
shitty food, right? So,
Yeah. Every day.
eh, eh, sorry I took it that direction, but I
Oh,
mean
it's
it's kind
okay.
of true, right? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
and but man, yeah, great conversation. I love some of those little key little nuggets in there. Uh, we all don't have well, the high, like we all have a similar capability, probably not as dynamic as yours to be in touch with the energies and stuff like that. I have, like, in my heart, I have no doubt that the better we feel about ourselves, the more we're connected with whatever you want to call it, that energy, the power that's
Correct.
flowing through the world. And the
Correct.
more, for me, like I saw it, while I did mushrooms, but I saw like the love energies and the kindness. It flows so easy and it flows fast and looks beautiful. While you have the hate energies are slow, like sluggish. Like, to me, that's what I saw, right? It was like
Yeah.
they were just grinding away and they were just like ripping stuff, almost like what you see lava doing. It's just tearing that up as it goes. And man, which one would you rather be in? Even
Right.
even if you don't believe it, like even if you're in a spot where you don't believe in it, would you rather just have the chance of being happy,
Right.
having love, or would you want to just sit there and freaking have lava running through your body? It's
Right.
which one is better?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not a proponent of saying, hey, go out and do a bunch of mushrooms and all that stuff.
No, I'm not.
I Yeah, everything that I do and everything that I have going on. Again, this was just I was chosen for this. I was meant for this. But we're all meant for something in this world because if you weren't meant for anything, you wouldn't be here. It's plain and simple. He put you here for a reason. He wants us to learn. But everything that I have and the communication I have and the connection I have comes naturally. It can come naturally for everyone. It may not be in the same way, but it will come naturally for you. But in order to get that natural answers, there's that natural connection of what you're looking for. You're going to have to clear out all those knots. You're going to have to get rid of them all because they are blocking you. They're blocking you. How do I know they're blocking you? Because they've been blocking you your entire life, and you just can't figure out what's going on here. Why can't I get this and why can't I get that? And you're walking around with that attitude of that mopey. Why can't I get this? Why can't I? Because you're that. Because that's not helping you. When are you going to figure out that walking around being angry about everything of why this is not happening to you is not working for you in the first place? Learn to let that go. Learn to go, you know what? I don't need to be angry all the time. I don't need to be sad all the time. I don't need to be fighting and struggling through everything my entire life. I could learn to let all that go and maybe some clarity will come to me. So why not give it a try? Just give it a try. That's all you have to do is just give it a try. That's all you have to do.
I love it, man. I'm gonna let you wrap it up, Daniel, and let them know where to find your book, how to get a hold of you if you want to get a hold of Daniel. He's an awesome dude. You already heard from him. And go ahead, Daniel. Wrap it up.
I will wrap it up. Don't get me to wrap up your Christmas presents because I'm not good at that. So, if you want to find me, you can find me on social media. You can find me on Facebook. I have a Spirit Medium Daniel group. I'm very vocal in there. If you want to come in and join and ask questions, go right ahead. I answer a lot of questions in there. If you want to get a reading with me, you can find me at spiritmediumdaniel.com. It's www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. If you want to find my book, you can go on Amazon and put in the search bar Daniel Jackson, The New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. This picture will come up. I have a copy of it right here. It's right behind me, but it's a man walking into a bright white light. That's me. And it's everything about me, how everything happened to me and for me in order to become a medium. And then there's also messages in there that are channeled from archangels, essentially coming from God, to help us to become better versions of ourselves. In which, if we can help other people to do the same, then in turn it's helping us as well, and that's fulfilling your purpose. You can also find my show. I have a show called Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson on New Reality TV. That's www.newrealitytv.com. I'm sorry, it's not www. It's HTTP, whatever that crap is. Newrealitytv.com. Very simple. You can go on there and you can see my show. And I talk about these types of subjects as well as I do interviews with other people on there, as well as one of those interviews is with Ernest here. Yay! Yay! And yeah, and it's a brand new streaming network. It just debuted a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, you can find me there. Or you can go on YouTube and see other interviews I've done. Like I said, a lot of them I've done are on YouTube. A lot are audio ones. So anywhere that you can find a podcast, you can look me up. Just look for. I would suggest putting in my full name. Put in Spirit Medium Daniel and then my last name Jackson, and then you'll find me everywhere. You'll see this goofy face right here. But yeah, you can pretty much find me everywhere. If you need that kind of help, then go for that kind of help. But if you do need personal help and you're having some struggles, again, then I would say then book a reading with me and we'll sit down and talk for a couple of hours because that's one thing I don't do. I'm not the guy who goes on who is the reader and goes, oh, I'm going to charge you $450 an hour, and if it goes over 15 minutes, I'm going to start charging you again. I don't. A reading with me is $150. I haven't had a reading yet that has been less than 2 hours. I've had readings that went for 4 or 5 hours, and what did I charge them after that? I didn't, because it's important for me so that they get all the information that they need. So I do my best with that because, like me, like you, there are some people in this world who still have integrity. So, and that's what we are trying to do here. We're really trying to help people. So if you really need help, reach out. You can find me. Put in my name, Spirit Medium Daniel, or just put in Spirit Medium Daniel Jackson, and you'll find me.
Well, thank you, Daniel. And it's awesome. Daniel found, his legacy, his happiness, and like I said, every single buddy has a unique version of that. It's like a fingerprint. And
Yes.
Daniel, it was a pleasure chatting with you today.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
You also, buddy.